The Los Angeles Dodgers are not playing around, folks. After hoisting that World Series trophy and watching the confetti rain down, most teams would be content to rest on their laurels, maybe take a victory lap or two, but not the Dodgers. Oh no, these baseball titans are already plotting their next move, and it's a bold one that has the entire baseball world buzzing. The boys in blue are setting their sights on something that only a handful of franchises in sports history have ever achieved: the legendary three-peat. 3 consecutive championships, 3 years of absolute dominance, 3 seasons of crushing dreams and breaking hearts from coast to coast. But here's the thing about chasing immortality in baseball. You can't just show up with the same roster and expect magic to happen again. Baseball is a game of constant evolution, of adjustments and counter-adjustments, of finding weaknesses and exploiting them before your opponents exploit yours. And right now, the Dodgers have identified a glaring hole in their championship armor, a vulnerability that could derail their historic quest before it even gets started. That hole is at the back end of their bullpen, in that pressure-packed ninth inning where games are won and lost, where legends are made and goats are born. They need a closer, a genuine, battle-tested, ice-in-his-veins closer who can slam the door shut when it matters most. Now, you might be scratching your head thinking about Roki Sasaki, that electric young arm from Japan, who has baseball scouts practically drooling over his potential. Sure, Sasaki has the stuff to close games. The kid throws absolute fire, the kind of heat that makes radar guns smoke and hitters look foolish. But here's the dirty little secret that the Dodgers brass understands better than anyone. Roki Sasaki is a starter at heart. Deep in his DNA, in every fiber of his baseball being, he's built to go multiple innings, to work through a lineup multiple times, to be the ace that sets the tone for an entire pitching staff. Trying to force him into that closer role would be like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It might work for a little while, but eventually something's going to break, and the Dodgers cannot afford that kind of catastrophic failure when they're chasing history. So what's the solution? How do the Dodgers fill this crucial gap in their championship puzzle? Well, according to MLB Network insider Harold Reynolds, a man who knows more about baseball's inner workings than most of us know about our own families, the Dodgers are making a major play for a familiar face. A 2-time All-Star with a track record of success, a proven commodity who has already established himself as one of the game's elite bullpen weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dodgers are going after Devin Williams, and this reunion tour could be exactly what Los Angeles needs to complete their dynasty dreams. This isn't some random shot in the dark or a desperate reach for a name-brand player. The Dodgers have history with Williams, serious history. They've pursued him before, circled him like a shark circling wounded prey, made it abundantly clear that they believe he's the missing piece to their championship puzzle. And now, with Williams hitting free agency and the Dodgers staring down the barrel of a potential three-peat attempt, the stars are aligning for what could be one of the most impactful signings of the entire offseason. We're not talking about some flashy position player who puts up big offensive numbers. We're talking about the guy who gets the final 3 outs, the pitcher who protects leads, the difference between popping champagne and going home disappointed. Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomes didn't dance around the issue when he addressed the media at this week's general managers meetings in Las Vegas, the annual gathering of baseball's power brokers, where deals are discussed over expensive dinners and handshake agreements are reached in hotel corridors, provided the perfect backdrop for Gomes to lay out the Dodgers' intentions. He confirmed what many had suspected. The Dodgers are actively looking to add a reliever as they gear up for their unprecedented three-peat attempt. And according to multiple sources speaking to reporter Fabian Ardaya, Williams is not just on their radar, but is possibly at the very top of their wish list. This is a familiar target, someone they've scouted extensively, someone they know can handle the pressure cooker that is October baseball in Los Angeles. Now, let's talk about Williams himself, because this is where things get really interesting. If you look at his 2024 numbers on the surface, you might wonder what all the fuss is about. Williams posted a 4.79 ERA this past season, which for a closer is pretty rough. That's the kind of number that gives managers ulcers and makes fans reach for the antacids. He struck out 90 batters and recorded 18 saves across 67 appearances, with a WHIP of 1.129. On paper, those aren't exactly the kinds of statistics that scream championship closer or justify an $8.6 million contract. But here's where the Dodgers' front office brilliance comes into play, where their analytical acumen separates them from the pack. Anyone can look at one season's worth of statistics and make a snap judgment. The truly elite organizations, the ones that consistently compete for championships year after year, they dig deeper. They understand context. They recognize aberrations. And when you zoom out and look at Williams' entire career body of work, a completely different picture emerges, one that explains exactly why the Dodgers are so interested in bringing him to Southern California. Over his career spanning 308 games, Williams has been nothing short of spectacular. We're talking about a 2.45 ERA, which is absolutely elite territory for any reliever, let alone a closer who faces the heart of opposing lineups in the highest pressure situations imaginable. He struck out 465 batters, demonstrating that he has the kind of overpowering stuff that can neutralize even the best hitters in baseball. His career whip sits at a tidy 1.045, showing excellent control and an ability to avoid putting runners on base. And perhaps most impressively, he's recorded 86 saves over that span, proving he has the mental fortitude to succeed in the closer role when it counts. This is what makes Williams such an intriguing target for the Dodgers right now. Every elite athlete, no matter how talented, goes through rough patches. Baseball is a game of failure, a sport where even the best hitters fail 7 out of 10 times, where dominant pitchers have stretches where nothing seems to work. Williams' 2024 season appears to be exactly that. An off year, an outlier, a statistical blip that doesn't reflect his true talent level. And for a team as sophisticated as the Dodgers, a team with one of the best pitching development systems in baseball, this represents an opportunity to buy low on a premium asset. Think about the genius of this potential move for a second. Instead of getting into a bidding war for a closer coming off a career year, when the price is inflated and multiple teams are driving up the cost, the Dodgers could swoop in and sign Williams to a relatively reasonable deal. $8.6 million is significant money, make no mistake, but in today's baseball economy where mediocre players routinely command contracts in the double-digit millions, it's actually quite modest for a pitcher of Williams' caliber and track record. The Dodgers would essentially be betting that Williams returns to form, that whatever mechanical issues or bad luck plagued him in 2024 can be fixed or will naturally correct itself. And here's the beautiful part. The Dodgers have the infrastructure to make that bet pay off. Their pitching lab is legendary, staffed with biomechanics experts and data analysts who can identify and correct problems that other teams miss entirely. They've taken countless pitchers who were considered damaged goods or reclamation projects and turned them into dominant forces. If anyone can help Williams rediscover the form that made him a two-time All-Star, it's the Dodgers. They can study his release point, analyze his spin rates, adjust his pitch mix, and implement a training regimen specifically designed to address whatever went wrong in 2024. The timing of this potential signing couldn't be better from the Dodgers' perspective. They're coming off a championship season, so they have all the momentum in the world. Players want to join winning teams, and there's no team hotter right now than Los Angeles. Williams would be stepping into a clubhouse filled with veterans who know how to win, how to handle pressure, how to support each other through the grind of a championship season. He wouldn't be carrying the entire bullpen on his shoulders either. The Dodgers have other quality relievers who can share the load, which means Williams could focus solely on being effective in that ninth inning rather than being overworked and burned out by September. From Williams' perspective, this move makes an enormous amount of sense as well. After a disappointing 2024 campaign that probably hurt his market value, what better way to rebuild his reputation than by closing games for one of baseball's most prestigious franchises? Imagine the narrative. Veteran closer has down year, signs with the Dodgers, rediscovers his form, and helps deliver a historic three-peat. That's the kind of redemption story that gets written into baseball lore, the kind of career arc that gets you remembered long after you hang up your cleats. The pressure of pitching in Los Angeles isn't for everyone, of course. The spotlight burns bright in Southern California, where every pitch is analyzed and dissected, where fans have championship expectations and won't accept anything less. But Williams has already proven he can handle high-pressure situations. You don't become a two-time All-Star by wilting under pressure. You don't rack up 86 career saves without having serious mental toughness. The man has the pedigree to succeed in this environment, and pairing him with a championship-caliber team could be the perfect recipe for success. Let's also consider what this move would mean for the Dodgers' overall roster construction. By securing Williams as their closer, they could move other pieces around to create optimal matchups throughout games. Maybe a pitcher who was being forced into the closer role can move back to the 7th or 8th inning where he's more comfortable. Maybe a young arm gets more development time in lower leverage situations. The entire bullpen dynamic shifts when you have a legitimate closer in place, someone you trust implicitly to get those final 3 outs. It's like having a safety net, a security blanket that allows your manager to make aggressive decisions earlier in games knowing that he has a proven weapon available to seal the deal. The question now becomes whether the Dodgers can actually close this deal before other teams wake up and realize what a potential bargain Williams represents. Free agency is a fluid situation where fortunes can change overnight. One team swoops in with a slightly better offer, and suddenly your target is gone, signed and introduced at a press conference wearing someone else's uniform. The Dodgers need to be aggressive here, need to make Williams understand that Los Angeles is where he belongs, that this is his chance to be part of something special, something historic. Other contending teams are absolutely circling Williams right now. You can bet that the Yankees, Phillies, Mets, and other big market franchises with championship aspirations are at least kicking the tires, having conversations with his representatives, trying to gauge his interest level. Some small market team might even make a surprising play, throwing money around in an attempt to make a splash and convince their fan base that they're serious about winning. The market for quality relievers is always competitive because every team understands how crucial bullpen performance is in today's game. You can have the best starting pitching in baseball, but if your bullpen blows leads, you're going home disappointed. This is why the Dodgers need to move fast, need to make this happen before spring training, ideally before the winter meetings even conclude. Getting Williams signed early would allow him to participate in the team's off-season program, start building chemistry with catchers and pitching coaches, begin the process of integrating into the Dodgers' organizational philosophy. It would also send a message to the rest of baseball that Los Angeles is all in on this three-peat attempt, that they're not content with past success, but are actively working to ensure future dominance. The financial aspect of this deal is worth examining as well. $8.6 million is real money, but it's not the kind of contract that handcuffs a franchise or limits future flexibility. The Dodgers have one of baseball's largest payrolls and aren't afraid to spend when they identify the right targets. This deal wouldn't prevent them from making other moves if opportunities arise. They could still add another starting pitcher if one becomes available, still upgrade at a position player spot if they identify a weakness. The contract structure is likely designed to be team-friendly, probably including performance incentives that reward Williams for returning to his all-star form while protecting the Dodgers if he continues to struggle. There's also an intangible element to this potential signing that shouldn't be overlooked: Williams' changeup. If you've watched him pitch, you know that his changeup is an absolutely devastating weapon, one of the best in baseball when he's on his game. The pitch has ridiculous movement, dropping off the table and leaving hitters flailing at air. When that pitch is working, Williams is virtually unhittable. The Dodgers' pitching coaches are surely salivating at the prospect of working with Williams to refine that changeup, to make it even more effective, to turn it into the kind of pitch that becomes legendary. Imagine Williams coming into Game 7 of the World Series with runners on base and unleashing that changeup to strike out the side. That's the kind of moment that defines championships, that gets replayed for decades. The three-peat chase is what makes this all so urgent and exciting. Only a handful of teams in baseball history have won 3 consecutive championships. The Yankees did it multiple times during their various dynasties. The Athletics pulled it off way back in the early 1970s, but in the modern era of free agency and competitive balance, it's incredibly difficult to sustain that level of success. Teams lose key players to free agency, injuries derail seasons, younger, hungrier franchises emerge to knock off the champs. The Dodgers are facing all of these challenges, which is exactly why they need to nail decisions like this potential Williams signing. Baseball fans everywhere should be paying attention to this situation because it represents everything that makes the sport great. You have a championship franchise trying to build a dynasty, a talented player looking to redeem himself after a tough season, and the high-stakes drama of free agency where one signature can change the trajectory of multiple franchises. This is why we love baseball, why we follow these stories obsessively during the hot stove season, why we debate and argue and analyze every rumor and report. The pressure is absolutely on the Dodgers to get this right. Their fans, spoiled by recent success, expect nothing less than championship contention every single season. The front office knows that standing pat isn't an option, that complacency is the enemy of sustained excellence. They need to identify weaknesses and address them aggressively, which is exactly what this potential Williams signing represents. It's proactive roster management at its finest, recognizing a need and going out to fill it with a quality player who fits the organization's timeline and goals. As we wait for news on whether this deal actually comes together, the speculation will continue to build. Every tweet from a credible reporter will be analyzed for clues. Every sighting of Williams or his agent at the winter meetings will spark new rumors. This is the theater of baseball's offseason, the drama that keeps fans engaged even when games aren't being played. And for Dodgers fans specifically, this represents hope that their team is doing everything possible to deliver another championship parade down the streets of Los Angeles. The bottom line is this: the Dodgers need a closer, Williams needs a fresh start, and the fit makes too much sense to ignore. If Los Angeles can pull this off, if they can convince Williams to join their three-peat quest, they'll have addressed one of their most significant weaknesses and positioned themselves as the clear favorites heading into next season. The bullpen would be solidified, Sasaki could develop as a starter like he's meant to be, and the Dodgers would have another weapon to deploy when October arrives and the stakes are highest. So keep your eyes locked on this situation, folks, because when it breaks, it's going to break big. The Dodgers don't mess around when they identify a target, and all signs point to Williams being at the very top of their list. Whether other teams try to swoop in and steal him away remains to be seen, but Los Angeles has the money, the prestige, and the championship pedigree to make this happen. And when they do, when Williams is officially announced as a Dodger, you'll want to be able to say you were following the story from the very beginning, that you understood the significance before everyone else caught on. This is why baseball never truly goes to sleep, why the offseason is almost as compelling as the regular season itself. Deals like this potential Williams signing shape the competitive landscape for years to come. They determine who contends and who rebuilds, who celebrates in October, and who watches from home. The Dodgers are making their move, positioning themselves for unprecedented success, and we all get to watch it unfold in real time. So buckle up, baseball fans, because this winter is going to be wild, and the Dodgers' pursuit of Devin Williams is just the beginning of what promises to be a fascinating offseason filled with blockbuster moves and championship dreams. If you're as pumped about this potential signing as I am, if you want to stay on top of every development in the Dodgers' three-peat quest, make sure you smash that like button right now. Drop a comment below telling me whether you think Williams will bounce back to all-star form or if his best days are behind him. And definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates as this story develops, because trust me, you're going to want to be here when this deal goes down. Let's ride this championship